Assalamu alaikum everyone. The purpose of this video is to convey to the aspirants and the candidates who are going to appear in the 2026 CSS examination that each candidate has a different story, has a different journey. With me here is Sir Talha Shafqat, who has secured 20th position in CSS 2024 examination and has been allocated into the pass group.
And with me is Ms. Nida Khattak, who has been allocated to OMG in CSS 2024. So let's start with Ms. Nida and let's ask her that what motivated her to join civil service? What was the motivation for joining civil service?
Talha, when I was a student back in government college, I used to write blogs for my local newspaper. So there was this issue in my village and I wrote about it, but that's all I could do. And the deputy commissioner of my area, he took an action on that issue after 1 week, and that was impressive. I mean, I was impressed by the way, the authority that he had, and I thought that it's a big responsibility that state gives you, and you can you can do wonders with that authority that has been given to you by the state. So that is what really motivated me to join the civil services, and that's how I have been working hard for it throughout these years. My journey is a long one. Obviously, it was my third attempt, but yours has been a very different journey. You have secured an allocation into this prestigious group on your very first attempt. So what motivated you? I would ask you.
I would say my motivation was quite different. It comes from my family. So I come from a family of 5 siblings, and all of my siblings are top-notch professionals. But none of them is in civil service. And I was the last hope of my family. So this was the motivating factor, that everyone in my family wanted someone to be in the civil service. So this was one reason. Secondly, back then when I was in government college, there is a culture of GC, that it produces civil servants, great civil servants.
Yeah.
So I got my motivation from government college. This is the second factor. And during my intermediate, I decided that ultimately I'll be pursuing my career in civil service. So these are the 2 basic factors. So since you have just mentioned that you had a long journey, what kept you motivated throughout this journey?
सो तलहा, जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये मेरा थर्ड अटैम्प्ट था और ये जर्नी मेरे लिए बहुत लंबी है, बहुत लंबी. सो मैंने स्टार्ट लिया जब मैं यूनिवर्सिटी में थी, तब मैंने सोचा कि आई विल अपीयर फॉर दिस एग्ज़ाम. और अभी भी हमें बहुत से एस्पिरेंट्स ऐसे देख रहे होंगे जिनकी जर्नी चल रही है और जो बार बार अटैम्प्ट्स दे रहे हैं, दे आर फेलिंग फॉर सम रीजंस. और इट्स अ वेरी फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग थिंग व्हेन आपकी जर्नी बहुत लंबी हो जाती है. But one thing that I would say is कि जो persistence है ना, it's very important in life. What kept me motivated is कि once I had this dream, तो अगर मैं पहला attempt अगर मैंने clear नहीं किया तो still किसी कुछ और करने को मेरा दिल ही नहीं करता. So then I would appear. But the thing is कि my journey is not solely dedicated towards CSS examination. I also was doing a job. I did my masters. जो मैंने पहली अटैम्प्ट दी, उसके बाद मैंने मास्टर्स किया, मैंने उसके बाद जॉब की, सेकेंड अटैम्प्ट में भी, थर्ड अटैम्प्ट में भी, आई वाज डूइंग समथिंग. और आई थिंक कि अगर जिसकी भी जर्नी लंबी हो जाए, दे शुड बी ऑल्सो, दे शुड हैव अ बैकअप प्लान विद देम एज वेल. आई वुड नॉट लाई. आई मीन CSS की जो मोटिवेशन है, इट्स गुड इनफ दैट यू हैव इट, but you should always have a plan B as well. So Talha, your journey is a very short one. I would not say short one because 2024 candidates had to suffer a lot, had to wait for their result, and we had to wait for like almost 2 years. But still, in comparison to me, you had a very short journey. So tell me about your journey.
बिल्कुल, आपने जैसे बताया कि CSS की जर्नी छोटी हो या बड़ी हो, it is very exhausting. So despite the fact that I've cleared it in the first attempt, I would say that there are few things that I've done differently, जिसकी वजह से मेरी जर्नी शॉर्ट भी रही है, and I've been able to clear it in the first attempt. For example, when I look at my peers who are my age fellows, I see that they are looking for shortcuts. मेरी personality का एक aspect ऐसा है कि I never look for shortcuts. When I started my preparation, मेरे जो बाकी दोस्त थे, they were always planning कि I need to find some way कि 3 से 4 महीने में CSS की तैयारी हो जाए. But this was not my strategy. For example, I started my preparation back in November 2022. And I decided that I'm going to give one complete year to my first attempt. And I'll appear in CSS 2024 as if this is my last attempt, even though it was my first attempt. So I gave one complete year to CSS and then appeared in the exam. This is the first difference. Then few other things that I've done differently is that by August 2023, I completed my preparation. And after that, for the next 6 months, I kept on writing. I utilized that time for writing practice. For example, before appearing in the final exams, I wrote almost 100 mocks. Apart from that, मैंने 50 से ज़्यादा सिर्फ essays लिखे हुए थे CSS 2024 से पहले. So this is another different thing that I think I've done differently from many other candidates. Then the third thing is that things have changed. अब CSS का exam भी evolve कर रहा है with the passage of time. So मैंने solely, I have not relied on books. And you know this thing, we have discussed it.
Yeah.
मेरे जो sources थे, they were very diverse. For example, I used to watch YouTube videos since I have a background of engineering. So engineers का थोड़ा सा मसला होता है with cramming. They are more tilted towards conceptual clarity.
Exactly.
So I was getting that conceptual clarity from YouTube videos, and that has helped me a lot. So I would say these three things, these have helped me in clearing the exam in the very first attempt, alhamdulillah. So you have just told that you cleared it in the third attempt, and probably it was essay, which was the reason behind the failure in the first two.
Which was the bane of my existence.
True.
Essay has been, and another important thing that we picked up here, जो कि I think बहुत से aspirants को एक misconception है कि CSS is about reading as many books as you can.
It is not.
It is not. I mean, when I began my journey, I started like in the first 3 to 4 months, I read around almost over 50 books. And then I went on to covering my syllabus or सारा कुछ. And, but still, you know, I managed to flunk my essay twice. So, उसके बाद, the third attempt, I changed my strategy a little bit. और मुझे लगता है कि I should share it with the aspirants. Okay, what changed? How did I manage to clear my essay in the third go? So in the first two attempts, I believe that I was inclined more towards the theoretical side of the, because I had so much knowledge in my brain, I could not know that what to express and what not to express. So I went very, deeply into the essay, into exploring the whole subject. Theoretical side ज़्यादा है, 50% essay आपका theoretical है, 50% आपका practical है. So in my third attempt, what I did differently was that I became very pragmatic and practical with my essay. जो पूछा हुआ है ना essay में topic. For instance, the essay that I attempted was Pathways to Pakistan's Prosperity. मैंने उसमें ये नहीं बताया कि पाकिस्तान के हालात क्या चल रहे हैं, or you know the way that I go in depth into these topics. I started the essay with giving the pathways, pathway number 1, number 2, number 3. I listed 11 pathways, and that was hitting the bull's eye. And that is what I think changed, and that is how my strategy changed, and that is how I think it managed me to clear the essay. I think the trick is not to be very flowery with your language, not to be very decorative with your verbosity नहीं होनी चाहिए. Keep it as simple as you can, and stay to the point. And Talha, you have cleared 2 essays in PMS as well, and then in CSS in your first go. We would also like to know what was your strategy.
So, as you have just mentioned, जो आपने strategies अपनी third attempt में adopt की थी, exactly वही strategies मैंने अपनी first attempt में adopt करनी थी. For example, I would like to use this platform to inform the students that there are few things that should be done in an essay. And there are few things that should not be done in an essay. For example, the most important thing in an essay is that you have to answer the question which is being asked. This is the most important thing. Students यहाँ पे सबसे बड़ा lag करते हैं, that they do not answer the question. Then the second most important thing is that you have to be relevant throughout the essay. You cannot give useless points. Your points should be relevant to the topic in hand. Then the third important thing is that your outline should be comprehensive.
Exactly.
आई थिंक मैंने काफ़ी कैंडिडेट्स के एसेस देखे हैं एंड आई सीन कि वो आउटलाइन को ड्यू वेटेज नहीं देते, जिसकी वजह से ऐसे शायद फेल होता है. दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट एवरी कैंडिडेट शुड डू. देन देयर आर फ्यू थिंग्स जो जिनसे रिलेटेड CSS कम्युनिटी में बहुत मिथ्स हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज अ मिथ रिगार्डिंग थीसिस स्टेटमेंट. I have never written a thesis statement, but I have never failed an essay. So I would like to tell candidates कि thesis statement आप लिख रहे हैं या नहीं लिख रहे, it does not matter. It does not decide whether you are going to pass it or not. But the point is that you have to stay relevant. Exactly. Then another important thing is that you have just mentioned verbosity. It is not required in any essay. This is again one myth in the CSS community. So I have tried to align to these few principles in my essay, and alhamdulillah I have qualified both the essays that I've written. So ma'am, talking about the biggest hurdle in CSS, that is the interview. And you have attained excellent secure in your interview. What were the strategies?
I did not have any strategy because, as I told you, that I had a long journey of CSS. So during this I was doing a job my job was solely based on this whole idea of speaking and moderating events. So I think that helped me a lot, and I was a researcher. I had to write research paper, blogs and articles on various national issues, aerospace, I would say. So that's different. So I think that already shaped my personality, and I think I was already ready to take the interview. So interview for me was comparatively in an easier part, I would say. But since you were a newbie and you are a first attemptee, you must have some strategy, because you secured 200 marks in interview, and that's a very exceptional score. So what was your strategy, and how did you secure such a great marks?
So my strategy was quite different than yours. Again, you've just mentioned that I had no prior work experience, so this was my first attempt. So when I was preparing for my interview, I had few things in my mind, and I got this clarity from my siblings as they have been through all these interviews. Again, interview is something that is related to your personality.
Exactly.
The panel is sitting there and they are just evaluating your personality. अब जब मैं पर्सनैलिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ, इसमें एक या दो फैक्टर्स नहीं हैं, इसमें 5-6 फैक्टर्स हैं जो कि एक मेजर रोल प्ले करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, व्हेन आई एम सेइंग पर्सनैलिटी, इट मीन्स कि आपने कॉन्फिडेंटली कम्युनिकेट करनी है चीज़ें विद द पैनल. दिस इज द फर्स्ट पैरामीटर. देन एन अदर इम्पॉर्टेंट पैरामीटर इज कि आपकी अच्छी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स हों. दिस इज अगेन अ पैरामीटर विच डिफाइंस योर पर्सनैलिटी. Then another parameter is कि आपकी physical outlook, as you are being judged, they are watching you, so आपकी वो भी अच्छी हो. Then there are few other personality traits. For example, in an interview I feel integrity is very important. जब हम CSS का interview दे रहे होते हैं, panel is not expecting कि candidate को हर question का answer आता होगा. I feel candidates यहाँ पे mistake करते हैं कि वो अपने guesswork का यूज करते हैं, which is a red flag in any interview. For example, in my own main interview, मैंने 5 जगह पे पैनल को सॉरी कहा without even thinking for a second. मैंने उन्हें directly बता दिया that I do not know the answer. And I think that was a very big green flag for the panel कि candidate has an integrity. He is not indulging in guesswork. This is again part of your personality. Then since this is an interview for CSS, we must understand one thing, that the candidate who is sitting, he should have an opinion.
Exactly.
If you are not giving your opinion, they will be gauging you on a very low standard. Exactly. So my interview started with an opinionated question, and it was I took a risk. I gave an example from our neighboring country, and वो time था जब we were having war with India. So I took a stance and I justified it with 3-4 arguments. So the point is कि ये जो 5-6 पैरामीटर्स मैंने बताए हैं, ये वो पैरामीटर्स हैं जो कि आपकी पर्सनैलिटी को डिफाइन करें. And lastly, this last parameter is again very important, which is adaptability. The interview is for the civil servants. Again, civil servants ने जाके citizens के साथ deal करना है, and they have to listen to the people. ऐसी situations आएंगे जहाँ पे उनको ये feel करना पड़ेगा कि उन्होंने चीज़ों को अपनी मर्जी के अगेंस्ट जाके भी लोगों को सुनना है. सो अडेप्टेबिलिटी शुड बी देयर, यू हैव टू डिपिक्ट इट इन योर पर्सनैलिटी. सो आई had these principles in my mind while entering in the room, and I told myself before entering that, Talha, you are an officer, you have to behave like a one. So this is again very important कि आप behave करें as an officer.
Exactly.
So if you, all those aspirants, all those qualifiers who are going to appear in CSS 2025 interview, I would say ये जो personality के traits मैंने बताए हैं, ये जो 5-6 traits हैं, and especially those who do not have any work experience, I think they should understand these parameters कि इन चीज़ों पे जज कर रहा है. पैनल आपको इन ही फैक्टर्स पे जज करेगा. So this was my strategy for the interview.
Yeah, I completely second that. And so yeah, this video was in fact aimed at candidates, उनको बताने के लिए कि आप सबकी जर्नी अलग अलग है. आपकी अपनी स्ट्रेटजी है, आपके पीयर की कोई और स्ट्रेटजी है, बट वर्क ऑन द स्ट्रेटजी दैट सूट्स यू. प्लीज डू नॉट कॉपी एनी अदर पर्सन. जो आपको लगता है कि आपके लिए ठीक है, डू दैट. एंड शायद टाइम लिमिट आपका कम हो, ज़्यादा हो, इट डजेंट मैटर एट द एंड. आप परसिस्टेंट रहे, आप जो है फोकस्ड रहे, डू नॉट लूज़ योर फोकस एंड कीप योर फेथ इन गॉड. अपने पेरेंट्स की दुआएं देते रहे एंड यू विल बी सक्सेसफुल इंशाल्लाह. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much.